Good morning, CW Henry School. This is Miss Davis coming to you virtually, bringing you a Black History Bite of the day. Today, on February the 22nd, we are celebrating somebody whose birthday was yesterday, February the 21st. Wondering who that person might be? Drum roll, please. The focus of today's Black History Bite is American politician and civil rights leader John Lewis. Now, you may have heard of John Lewis in the news this year because unfortunately he passed away earlier this year. But as I said, yesterday was his birthday. He was born on February the 21st, 1940, and he died on July 17th, 2020, after battling cancer. We're celebrating his belated birthday. Let's learn a little bit more about his life and some of the amazing things he accomplished. So when he was born, his full name was John Robert Lewis, and he was born near Troy, Alabama, in the southern state of Alabama. He grew up on his family's farm, where his parents were sharecroppers. If you're unfamiliar what a sharecropper is, it's when people farm a piece of land that is owned by someone else. John was taught not to challenge segregation laws as a child that kept Black people separate from white people in the southern United States. The Jim Crow laws limited the freedom and opportunities for African American people. However, as a child, John Lewis was inspired, and the activism of Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King Jr. inspired him to change those unjust laws. So as a young adult, he attended Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee. He became active in the civil rights movement and organized sit-ins at lunch counters and other segregated public places. He also participated in the 1961 Freedom Rides, when white people and Black people rode buses together in the South to protest segregation. In 1963, he was elected chairman of the SNCC. That stands for the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. That year, Lewis helped organize and spoke at the historic March on Washington, where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his famous I Have a Dream speech. Although Lewis was only in his early 20s, he was recognized as one of the Big Six leaders of the civil rights movement. Here's a picture of him from that time. In 1965, when he was 25 years old, Lewis led more than 600 peaceful protesters across a bridge in Selma, Alabama, in response to local violence against civil rights activists. The protesters were attacked by law officers, and more than 50 people, including Lewis, were hospitalized. That day became known as Bloody Sunday. The event helped pass the Voting Rights Act, which outlawed many ways used to prevent African Americans from voting. Here's another picture of John when he was a young adult. In 1986, later in life, he was elected to the House of Representatives. Representing Georgia's 5th district, he was one of the most respected members of Congress. In office, he called for healthcare reform, measures to fight poverty, and improvements in education. Most importantly, he oversaw multiple renewals of the Voting Rights Act. Throughout his life, Lewis received many honors and awards. He was awarded the Martin Luther King Jr. Nonviolent Peace Prize in 1975, the NAACP's Spingarn Medal in 2002, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2011. There you can see President Barack Obama putting that medal around his neck. He's also had books written about him, and he's written books as well. His memoirs are called Walking with the Wind, and there's a trilogy of books called the March Trilogy. The March Trilogy is a graphic novel series for young adults. The events in this book are based on Lewis's experience in the civil rights movement. That's a picture from one of his graphic novels. The final installment of the March Trilogy won the National Book Award in 2016. And to end, I want to bring you a quote from John Lewis. It says, "Never ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble." So as you've learned today, during our Black History Bite, John Lewis is a person who stood up for injustices throughout his entire life. This is only a clip, a short segment giving you the highlights of his life. There is so much more to know and learn about him. I hope you enjoyed today's Black History Bite of the Day. I'll link a couple additional YouTube videos if you're interested in finding out more about some of the things he did throughout his life. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye.